Elder Selection in the Small Pill Tower. Xiao Yin, Xin Kongzi, and the rest were slightly startled after hearing Xian Yi's words. They mused for a moment before nodding. Xin Kongzi said, although Old Demon Ho's seniority far surpasses Xiao Yin might be able to compete with this old fellow with his current abilities. Yao Lao nodded and laughed. All right, let Xiao Yin compete with that old fellow. I'll let that old demon know that not only can I, Yao Chun, defeat him, even the disciple I groomed can defeat him. If that is really the case, it is likely that Old Demon Ho's face would turn green. Tian Lazy loudly laughed. Xiao Yin was speechless when he heard these four people decide that he should compete after a couple of sentences, but he was also clearly aware that this matter would determine the success of the alliance. Hence, he did not object to the competition. With his current alchemist skill, he would not feel the slightest fear even when dealing with those extremely old demons. How many colors can a pill lightning from a medicinal pill refined by that old demon possess? Xiao Yin mused for a moment and asked. He naturally needed to be aware of his opponent. It has been many years since I have seen that old demon go all out. The last time I saw him refine a pill with all his strength should have been 2 decades ago. At that time, he had successfully attracted an 8-colored pill lightning. He will probably be able to attract a 9-colored pill lightning now. Xin Kongzi thought for a moment before speaking. 9-colored pill lightning, huh? This person was indeed worthy of being someone who had competed with Yao Lao to be the champion of the pill gathering. Such alchemy skill could be considered top-notch across the Central Plains. That old fellow has progressed very quickly during these years. In order to beat him, Xiao Yin must refine a Tier 9 medicinal pill. Yao Lao frowned. A Tier 9 medicinal pill, even if it was the lowest grade, a Tier 9 treasure pill was somewhat troublesome for Yao Lao to refine. Xiao Yin might be powerful, but when it came to pill refinement, one relied on accumulated experience. That old demon had been totally immersed in pill refinement for many years. His experience was many times that of Xiao Yin. Xin Kongzi and the 2 others nodded. Their eyes swung to Xiao Yin as Xin Kongzi asked, Are you confident? A Tier 9 medicinal pill, huh? Xiao Yin gently rubbed his finger and softly replied, I can give it a try. Although Xiao Yin had never refined a Tier 9 medicinal pill, his current strength had soared, and his spiritual strength had improved by leaps and bounds during his 2-year retreat. He had already stepped into the heavenly state from the soul state. He was not any weaker than Yao Lao and the others from the older generation. Xin Kongzi's group sighed in relief after hearing Xiao Yan's words. They immediately said, Let's do this. We will find a way to allow Xiao Yin to join the competition. It will not be much trouble with his pill-gathering champion qualification. Yao Lao and Xiao Yin nodded. Haha, the 2 of you should stay here for these next 3 days. The environment of this place is extremely suitable for alchemists. Xin Kongzi stood up. He laughed before leaving with Xin Yi and Tian Lazy. They still needed to call in some favors to get Xiao Yin to join the elder selection. After all, it would be a little troublesome to suddenly include another person. Xiao Yin and Yao Lao temporarily resided in the Pill Tower Mountain during the subsequent 3 days. Many older generation alchemists arrived during these 3 days. Of course, they had naturally come because of Yao Lao. Most of the old people here were acquainted with Yao Lao. They would naturally want to come and visit after having not met for many years. Yao Lao had allowed Xiao Yin to get acquainted with these older generation alchemists who had once been extremely renowned on the Central Plains. These old fellows had made many friends across the Central Plains in the past. One would naturally gain many benefits just by being acquainted with them. Xiao Yin was also clearly aware of Yao Lao's intentions. Hence, he appeared relatively courteous and respectful when meeting these people from the older generation, satisfying those old fellows. After they learned that Xiao Yan's alchemist skills were comparable to Yao Lao, they clearly appeared much warmer to him. No matter where one was, those who possess strength would have an easy time gaining the acceptance of others. 3 days passed by in a flash because of this relatively lively atmosphere. When the morning light on the fourth day landed on the Pill Tower, this mountain had shed its quietness and became much livelier. There was usually little noise emitted in this small Pill Tower. Everyone just discussed and challenged each other's alchemist skills, or they would manage their own medicinal garden. Their days were ordinary and extremely suitable for those old fellows who were tired of the conflict in the continent. The top of the Pill Tower mountain formed an open ground. Clouds covered the surroundings of this open ground. The thick layer of clouds was like cotton, causing one to feel the impulse of wanting to walk on them. This open ground, which rarely had any visitors, was filled with quite a number of people. Most of them had white hair and appeared extremely old. Any person in this place would be greatly sought after by many factions in the Central Plains. If a sect possessed an alchemist of this level, the benefits it would receive would be incomparable. While the number of scattered people on the open ground gradually increased, Yao Lao and Xiao Yin were led over by Xin Kongzi and the rest. Many people quickly gathered after Yao Lao appeared. They laughed as they greeted him. From this, one could tell that Yao Lao was quite popular within this small Pill Tower. Yao Chen Old Thing are indeed still alive. Yao Lao was smiling as he greeted his old friends when a somewhat unfriendly voice was suddenly emitted. Immediately, the crowd parted and formed a path. A small and skinny gray-robed elder slowly walked over. "Ha, Old Demon Ho. Even you are still alive. How can I leave before you?" Yao Lao smiled as he looked at the gray-robed old man and asked a rhetorical question. "This is Old Demon Ho, huh?" Xiao Yan's heart shook after hearing Yao Lao's form of address. His eyes landed on that gray-robed old man. The old man's size was somewhat similar to his surname, Ho equals monkey. His elderly face appeared a little old-fashioned and seemed like the face of the living dead. "When you left the small Pill Tower on your own back then, I thought that you would not have the backbone to return ever again." The gray-robed old man spoke in a faint voice. There was some ridicule in his voice. He had been at odds with Yao Lao and had been trying his best to surpass Yao Lao even now, but this desire had never been fulfilled. It had become a thorn in his flesh. Yao Lao smiled but did not argue. He acted like a nice old person. "I heard that you were planning on taking part in the elder selection. It's just as well. After having not met for many years, it is time for me to see whether or not your alchemist skill has improved." The gray-robed old man frowned and continued after seeing Yao Lao ignore him. Yao Lao involuntarily smiled after hearing his words. He shook his head and said, "I am not the one participating this time around. If you really insist on competing with me, you should defeat my disciple first. He has coincidentally joined the competition." "Your disciple?" That gray-robed old man turned to Xiao Yin by the side after hearing these words. His expression sank after seeing Xiao Yan's age. He coldly laughed. "This little baby boasts the qualification to participate? Yao Chen, even if you wish to use the back door, you should not do it like this, right? This is the small Pill Tower, not the Central Plains." Some of the elders, who were unaware of the situation, also used strange eyes to look at Xiao Yin. Clearly, they did not understand why he possessed the qualification to participate. "Old Demon Ho, Xiao Yin is this pill gatherings champion. Why would he not be qualified?" Xin Kongzi glanced at Old Demon Ho as he inquired. "Pill gathering champion?" The expression of Old Demon Ho altered after hearing this title. Back then, he had lost the champion spot of the pill gathering competition to Yao Chen by just a little. This matter had been a thorn in his heart. Unexpectedly, the disciple that Yao Chen had taught had also achieved this title. Looks like the quality of the pill gathering was really lacking. Old Demon Ho bitterly remarked. "You are wrong. Xiao Yin refined a 5-colored pill lightning during this pill gathering in order to be victorious. The competition was even more intense than the competition in your time. Xianyi replied in a faint voice. 5-colored pill lightning? Those surrounding elders revealed surprised faces. At this moment, it might not be difficult for them to refine a medicinal pill of this level, but back when they had participated in the pill gathering, it was already relatively good to be able to refine a medicinal pill that could attract a pill lightning. A 5-colored pill lightning had been relatively distant to them back then. Old Demon Ho's face became even more solemn after hearing this retort. Many soft needles had pricked him until he was quite furious. He felt a little embarrassed as he waved his sleeve and coldly snorted, 5-colored pill lightning? It is nothing here. Since you are not going to participate, allow me to take this elder position. However, since this little fellow is your disciple, this elderly self shall help you teach him. Haha, this disciple of mine really doesn't know his limits. Since Old Demon Ho intends to teach him, I shall help him thank you first. Yao Lao smiled as he replied, Yao Chun, I know what you are here for. Once I obtain that elder position, I will definitely get the both of you to return empty-handed. Old Demon Ho could hear the mockery in Yao Lao's words. With a cold snort, he waved his sleeve, turned around, and furiously left. Yao Lao smiled as studied Old Demon Ho's distant back. He softly said, Looks like we need to shatter the beautiful dream of this old demon to be an elder. What do you say? Xiaoyin grinned and gently nodded. There is no need to worry, teacher. Light from the bright, warm sun tore through the layers of clouds and landed on the top of the mountain. An ancient and melodious gong slowly reverberated through this open ground. The top of the mountain became distorted after this gong began to vibrate. 7 elderly figures appeared on a stone stage within the open ground without any forewarning. Many people bowed and greeted these 7 elders after seeing them. They respectfully said, Greetings to all 7 elders. The main elder council could be considered the highest decision body in the small pill tower. These elders naturally possessed an extremely high status. Moreover, all of them had been selected from the small pill tower and were highly regarded individuals. Hence, many people in the small pill tower respected them. Xiaoyin was mixed in with the crowd. His eyes swept over the 7 elders. After slowly sweeping his gaze over them, he finally paused on 4 individuals. The auras of these 4 individuals appeared exceptionally powerful among those 7 elders, especially the linen-clothed, expressionless old man standing at the center. He caused Xiaoyin to throw a sideways glance. 2 middle-level Bansheng, 1 high-level Bansheng, and 1 who has reached the initial level of the 2nd star of the Dosheng class. Is this the true strength of the Pill Tower? No wonder it is comparable to the Hall of Souls. Xiao Yan's eyes paused on that linen-clothed old man and quietly sighed in his heart. The foundations of these factions, which had existed for a long time within the Central Plains, was indeed relatively frightening. If one's strength did not reach a certain level, it would be impossible for one to be aware of these extremely secretive existences. That linen-clothed elder is the first elder of the small pill tower. With the exception of the ancestor, he is the most senior person in the small pill tower. Even I will have to greet him as someone from the younger generation, Yao Lao softly explained as he stood beside Xiaoyin. Xiaoyin was quietly speechless after hearing this. Even Yao Lao would have to greet him as someone from the younger generation. The seniority of this first elder was really frightening. The linen-clothed man seemed to have detected Xiaoyin observing him. A pair of eyes as deep as starry space were thrown toward Xiaoyin. A fluctuation immediately flashed across those eyes. Clearly, he had discovered Xiaoyan's true abilities. What a powerful spiritual pressure! Xiaoyan's brows slightly twitched after the first elder glanced over. He could sense an invisible pressure form in the surrounding space. This kind of pressure could not be detected by anyone else. Only the parties involved could sense it. Fortunately, Xiaoyin was very different from his old self. The spiritual pressure of this first elder might pressure him a little, but it could not harm him. His expression did not shift because of the exchange. The chin of the first elder moved slightly in an undetectable manner after noticing Xiao Yan's unchanging expression. His eyes finally slid away. His old but ordinary voice resounded in the ears of everyone present. Today is a rare occasion in our small pill tower, the elder selection. It is not the first time everyone has experienced it. I shall not talk more about the rules involved. You can take any medicinal ingredients from the mountain. Whoever refines the highest tier medicinal pill will naturally be the victor. Everyone, if there are no more inquiries, can those who have obtained the qualification to join the selection please step forward. Although this first elder was extremely old, he did things relatively quickly. Without any unnecessary words, he pointed at the open ground in front of him and gave an order in a faint voice. Understood. Some respectful replies came from around the open ground after hearing the first elder's words. Many figures immediately stepped forward and found their own area to stand within the open ground. I will also head out. Xiaoyan smiled after seeing these people step forward. Do your best. Do not disgrace your teacher's name. Shinny grinned and replied. Xiaoyan nodded, after which he squeezed out from the crowd and found an empty space amidst the many surprised gazes from around him. The appearance of Xiaoyan attracted many pairs of eyes. Most of the old people here lived in seclusion. Hence, they did not know why this young man had suddenly joined the selection. This junior is Xiaoyan. He is Yao Qin's disciple and was the champion of the most recent pill gathering. According to the rules, he possesses the qualification to join the elder selection. The first elder swept his eyes around as he explained in a faint voice. So that is why. It is unexpected that the old fellow Yao Chun accepted another disciple. However, this elder selection is not an ordinary game. Can it be that Yao Chun has purposefully asked this young fellow to join in order to gain some experience? Some private conversations started after the first elder's words sounded. Although the weight of the pill-gathering champion title was quite heavy, it appeared a little insufficient if one wished to rely on this title to compete with the other seniors for the position of an elder. Many people concluded that Yao Qin intended to have Xiaoyan gain some experience. Xiaoyan was naturally unconcerned with the thoughts of these people. He shut his eyes and recuperated. After many elderly figures appeared within the spacious open ground, the remaining people slowly withdrew to the edges of the square. Finally, the first elder once again slowly opened his mouth. If everyone is prepared, please begin. The atmosphere within the open ground immediately became tense after hearing the first elder's words. Everyone's expressions gradually became grave. Clang! A clear metallic sound suddenly appeared in this tense atmosphere. Soon after, another noise appeared. Many medicinal cauldron with extraordinary auras were taken out of storage rings, after which they heavily landed on the ground. Start the fire. Many cries soon sounded after the cauldrons landed on the ground. Soon after, many different flames that were all quite powerful rose in the medicinal cauldrons. In an instant, the temperature of the entire square rapidly rose. Xiaoyan's expression slowly became grave as he looked at the many medicinal cauldrons around him, but he did not take out a medicinal cauldron. Instead, he extended his right hand and suddenly clenched it. A purple-brown flame that contained hints of a dense white color soon rose from his hand. Bang! This cluster of flames had just appeared when it suddenly swelled. Within a short instant, it began burning above Xiaoyan's head like a cloud of fire. Subsequently, the fire cloud gathered and swiftly formed a purple-brown medicinal cauldron in front of many stunned eyes. The cauldron was completely made out of fire. This is heavenly flame? This young fellow really boasts a powerful control over his flame. However, isn't he afraid of losing control during the refinement after using a heavenly flame to form a cauldron. Xiao Yan's trick immediately attracted many surprised gazes. Many low and deep voices soon conversed. The flame cauldron slowly floated in front of Xiao Yan. Its extremely solid appearance caused many alchemist gurus to reveal grave expressions. Just what kind of a control over a flame and spiritual strength was required in order to control the heavenly flame at this pinnacle level? Old Demon Ho, who was a short distance away, was also attracted by the commotion. He knit his brow slightly. A cold laugh immediately sounded. A member of the younger generation was ultimately a member of the younger generation. They always did useless things. Xiao Yan gently flicked his finger as he studied the flame cauldron he had formed. A flame rose within the medicinal cauldron. It emitted a heat puff and transformed into a fire dragon that wandered around the medicinal cauldron. Xiao Yan did not continue the pill refinement process after forming this medicinal cauldron. Instead, he slowly shut his eyes. Many people were stunned when they saw him shut his eyes. But no one dared to underestimate this extremely young person after the level of skill he had just displayed. I wonder what kind of medicinal pill Xiao Yan is planning to refine this time around? Xin Kongzi looked at Xiao Yan from among the crowd and mused to himself. Xiao Yan has basically learned all that I know. I have never attempted to refine a Tier 9 medicinal pill in the past. Hence, I can only give him 2 types of medicinal formula, Yao Lao softly spoke. The importance of medicinal formulae was obvious after reaching such a level. If one did not possess the medicinal formula of a Tier 9 medicinal pill, it would be impossible to refine a medicinal pill of that level. A Tier 9 medicinal formula was not inferior to a Tian Class Chi method or dose skill. Even though Yao Lao had collected formulae for many years, he had only managed to obtain 2 of them. Moreover, they were the lowest grade of a Tier 9 pill, a treasure pill. After Yao Lao had spoken, Xiao Yan suddenly opened both of his eyes. He spread his fingers, and an emerald-colored bead appeared between them. Bodhisattva seed? He wishes to refine a bodhisattva pill? Yao Lao's experience group was aware of Xiao Yan's goal after seeing that emerald bead appear. The highest grade of a bodhisattva pill can at most attract a 9-colored pill lightning. It is a little difficult if he wishes to beat Old Demon Ho. Xianyi knit her brows after figuring out what he was going to attempt. It would be a little difficult to obtain victory by simply relying on the bodhisattva seed. Xin Kongzi and Tian Lei frowned. They had already learned that Xiao Yan was an elite dosheng from Yao Lao. Although Xiao Yan did not mention his spiritual state, it was obvious that he had reached the heavenly realm. Therefore, he already possessed the qualification to refine a Tier 9 medicinal pill. They could not understand why Xiao Yan had chosen to refine the bodhisattva pill. He should have his own plans. Yao Lao hesitated for a moment. Based on his trust in Xiao Yan, he did not think that Xiao Yan would underestimate his opponent. Xiao Yan's eyes drifted to Yao Lao's group after he took out the bodhisattva seed. He faintly smiled after seeing their frowns. People may think that his pill refinement experience was inferior to an elder like Old Demon Ho. Normally speaking, his experiences would be inferior to these old demons, who had trained for hundreds of years. However, Xiao Yan had undergone 100 reincarnations while meditating under the bodhisattva tree, which brought him numerous benefits. One of those benefits was experience in pill refinement.